The world watched in shock as Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, unleashed an unexpected barrage of confessions and thinly veiled attacks during her appearance on the Drew Barrymore Show. What was initially promoted as a heartfelt, empowering conversation quickly spiraled into one of the most controversial interviews in recent daytime television history. With cameras rolling, Markle revealed a side of herself that was equal parts defensive, combative, and unsettling, casting yet another dark shadow over her already strained relationship with the British royal family. This wasn't simply an interview. It was an explosion, one that reignited old wounds, reopened royal controversies, and gave critics new ammunition against the Duchess, who has long styled herself as a victim of the monarchy and the media. For many, it was the clearest sign yet that Meghan Markle's quest for influence has crossed into dangerous, self-destructive territory. From the moment Meghan sat across from Drew Barrymore, her body language betrayed tension. With her arms tightly crossed and her voice sharpened by bitterness, she wasted no time pivoting from lighthearted banter to royal grievances. Viewers expecting casual conversation about motherhood, Hollywood, or her philanthropic work were instead dragged into a full-scale airing of resentment. Markle revisited old claims of racism within the royal family, going further than ever before by naming unnamed senior figures who allegedly dismissed her concerns. While she stopped just short of dropping direct names, her pointed pauses and carefully chosen words left little to the imagination. Barrymore, visibly uncomfortable, attempted to steer the conversation toward more neutral ground, but Meghan was relentless, framing herself as the lone truth-teller fighting against a machine built to silence women. What stunned audiences wasn't simply the content of her claims, it was the aggression with which she delivered them. Unlike her measured tones during the Oprah Winfrey interview in 2021, this Meghan was fiery, sarcastic, and at times hostile. Critics immediately labeled it less of a tell-all and more of a meltdown. Analysts and royal watchers quickly debated whether Meghan's performance was strategic or spontaneous. On one hand, her language was too sharp, too rehearsed, to be accidental. On the other hand, her increasingly erratic tone suggested someone who had lost control of the narrative. According to backstage sources from the Barrymore production team, Meghan insisted on minimal pre-interview guidelines, requesting that no questions be off-limits. This may have been her attempt to show transparency, but it also backfired spectacularly, giving her critics fresh evidence of her volatility. Several PR experts noted that Meghan's aggressive demeanor undermined her long-standing brand of empowerment and empathy. Instead of coming across as a survivor of institutional oppression, she appeared vindictive, more concerned with settling scores than healing wounds. Though Meghan avoided naming names outright, her verbal daggers struck clear targets within the monarchy. She described a woman in the family who smiled in public but sabotaged me in private, which many interpreted as a direct reference to Kate Middleton, Princess of Wales. Similarly, her mention of a man who preached duty but lived hypocrisy was widely read as a swipe at Prince William. But perhaps her most shocking comments were aimed indirectly at King Charles III. Without naming him, Meghan described a father figure who turned his back on compassion when it was needed most. This statement, laden with emotion, seemed to confirm long-standing rumors of her broken relationship with Charles, echoing Harry's earlier complaints of neglect. The royal household, as is tradition, issued no official response. But insiders reported a wave of fury behind palace walls, with one aide allegedly describing the interview as a calculated attempt to destabilize the monarchy. One of the most glaring contradictions in Meghan's explosive appearance was her claim of being silenced, juxtaposed against the reality of her ever-expanding media presence. The critics were quick to point out the irony. A woman who claimed she was gagged by the monarchy now seems to live on talk show couches, streaming platforms, and podcasts. Commentators accused her of weaponizing victimhood, while simultaneously capitalizing on the fame and platform the monarchy gave her. She wants the crown's prestige without the crown's responsibility, one cultural critic argued. It's exploitation dressed up as empowerment. This hypocrisy was especially evident when Meghan criticized the royal family for living off taxpayer funds while simultaneously negotiating multi-million-dollar deals with Netflix, Spotify, and major publishers. Her call for authentic storytelling rang hollow in the shadow of her lavish lifestyle in Montecito. Throughout the broadcast, Drew Barrymore's attempts at levity were repeatedly shut down by Meghan's combative tone. At one point, when Barrymore gently asked about Harry's role in supporting her mental health, Meghan snapped, "You don't understand the depth of what we went through." Viewers noted Barrymore's nervous laughter and strained expressions, interpreting them as signs that the host herself felt trapped. Social media exploded with clips of Barrymore's visible unease, sparking sympathy for the actress-turned-host who seemed caught in the crossfire of Meghan's vendetta. Insiders later claimed Barrymore was blindsided by Meghan's intensity. "We expected revelations," said one staff member, "but we didn't expect hostility. It felt less like a conversation and more like a lecture." The reaction to Meghan's appearance was swift and polarizing. While her loyal supporters praised her for speaking truth to power, the broader public reaction was overwhelmingly critical. Headlines branded her performance a tantrum, a train wreck, and proof that Meghan's obsession with victimhood has reached new heights. Polls conducted in both the United States and the United Kingdom showed a sharp drop in her favorability ratings. In Britain, where her reputation has long been tarnished, the interview only deepened resentment. In America, where she once enjoyed broader sympathy, cracks began to show in her support base. Perhaps most damaging of all, Meghan's Hollywood allies were noticeably silent in the days following the broadcast. Unlike past controversies, where celebrities rushed to her defense, this time the silence was deafening, a possible sign that even her inner circle recognized the gravity of her misstep. This latest meltdown is not an isolated event, it is part of a larger pattern. Since her royal exit in 2020, Meghan has positioned herself in perpetual opposition to the monarchy, the media, and anyone who challenges her narrative. Each public appearance seems less about reconciliation and more about escalation. Critics argue that Meghan is addicted to conflict, that her identity as a public figure is now inseparable from controversy. Without royal battles to fight, she risks becoming irrelevant in a cutthroat entertainment industry. Thus, her repeated return to the same grievances feels less like truth-telling and more like brand maintenance.